Welcome back to another episode of the Art of Unraveling podcast and YouTube video. And I'm Erin McGuire Henson, your host and podcast leader, if that's what you want to call it. And today I wanted to talk about something that is very important to me and to tell you a little bit of backstory and story about just a piece of my life. Uh, as you can see, the title of this is I never wanted to do this work. And this work meaning being a healer, being a coach, even being a yoga teacher, because that's how I started in my work. So, how did I get here? What was the path if I didn't want to do this, right? So, I always say, like, if you had told me that I would be doing this kind of work, healing work, helping people in this way, back when I was in college or just graduated from college, I would have thought you were crazy. Now, I did have some desire to work with people. I had worked in a nursing home when I was younger. I was a CNA for a long time. And so I worked with people and helped people and thought maybe I would go into some sort of healthcare field. Like I looked into physical therapy, occupational therapy, but college was very discombobulating for me. And it was kind of like my escape from growing up in the situation that I grew up in. So when I got to college, everything just kind of changed. And I feel like I became a little directionless. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was trying all these different avenues. But it happened that when that I got into this work because fast forward many years from college, I went to work at a restaurant, moved to Los Angeles, and was living there working on becoming an actress. Like I wanted to give that a try because it's something that I absolutely loved doing, and I had been involved in the acting world for many years. And so I dove into that realm and obviously needed to make some money as I was stepping into becoming an actress, if that's what I was going to do. And so I worked at a restaurant. And while I was there, I started finding yoga and meditation. And that path really opened up a lot for me and really helped me on my own healing journey that I didn't even know I needed to be on. I mean, I was really emotionally shut down back then and didn't understand what healing work was or any of that. But when I found Kundalini yoga, it started unraveling me, if you can say that. It certainly did. Started unraveling me in really profound ways. And so at all that time, I was working at the restaurant. And I felt like it got to the point after like probably a year and a half of doing that, doing taking yoga for myself, meditating and all of that, seeing what it had done for me. Uh, I felt like I was just kind of taking, I was working in a steakhouse and I feel like it felt like I was just like slinging steaks and, you know, feeding into the system of like having these clients that come in are they're spending lots of money on dinners and stuff, and it just felt like I wasn't giving back. And so that's when I found it was I went to some festival or something, and it was at a local college, and they had different meditation booths set up and whatnot. And there was a booth there where you could sign up to help kids meditate, help kids learn to meditate in schools, like be a volunteer. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to just volunteer because I want to help people feel as good as I do from this. And so I signed up. Well, shortly after that, their funding got taken away. They had reached out to me like, we're so excited to have you, but then their funding got taken away. So I met with this woman from that organization. I don't even remember the organization. It was a very long time ago. But I'll never forget her. And I believe her name was Victoria. And I only met her once. And I remember she was telling me, she goes, uh, can you teach yoga? Like, we're sorry, we can't, put you in schools to teach meditation to kids, but can you teach yoga? And I was like, no, I'm not certified. No, I'm not going to teach yoga. And she just said, this is a women's shelter. She's like, these women have been, abused, a lot of them living on the street. She's like, they aren't going to know, like, or care if you're a perfect yoga teacher that's certified. Like, she's like, do you do yoga? And I said, yes. She goes, okay, then I want you to go here and I want you to teach these ladies yoga. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to I can't do that. And it's literally like she was a universal force that just kind of pushed me to go do it because I literally kept saying, I can't do this. And I was just like, okay, I'll give it a try after like telling her no about 5 different times. Again, I only met her in person once. And I think about that. I'm like, was she like an angel that came down and forced me to do this? Or is she a real person? I'll never know because I've lost contact with her. But, and those were crazy times. So I don't remember, where what the organization was. Like, I don't remember anything. It's all a blank. But she really did kind of push me. So I remember I went to Barnes and Noble, and this was back in like 2006, probably 2007, somewhere in there. And so it was, still fairly new to all of this stuff. I think it was obviously in Los Angeles, it was online, but it wasn't like big time. Anyway, so I found a book. It was like basic yoga poses, downward dog, upward dog. I remember putting sticky notes in the book, or like I probably wrote out notes of what to do in my very basic knowledge. I don't even think there was a way to like look up a yoga sequence back then. I don't know. There might have been, but I didn't do that. I just kind of tried to do it with a book. And I showed up and all it took was one class. And I had women coming up to me after the class. Several of the women in the room came up to me. It was probably like 10 people that in my first class. And they were just like, wow, I feel so much better. Thank you. And just said some really kind things about how the class had helped them. And that's all it took. Like I was hooked and I wanted to do that more. I wanted to support people. I wanted to make people feel better than what they were currently feeling. I wanted to give them an experience that they may not have had it before ever or in a long time. Like I wanted that. So it was just almost like this soul recognition of like that's what I'm supposed to do. So my career started with me teaching yoga, and I always say yoga is the gateway, was my gateway drug into all these other modalities. Because when I did finally get certified, which happened a year or two later, I was getting asked to teach. Once people knew I would teach, I was getting asked to teach in all these different ways. I was getting paid to be a yoga teacher before I was ever certified, and that's not something I was trying to do. It just happened. And then I kept looking for certifications, and it wasn't until I found Cloud9 with Erica Faith Kalig that I knew that was the one I wanted. And her very first training happened to be in Bali. Not her very first, but the training that was available as soon as I met her happened to be in Bali. So with a Kundalini yoga teacher. So I just knew I was supposed to go on that one. And it was life transforming. And on that in that training was a woman that did energy work and theta healing. And so I met her and I started working with her. And so that opened the door to theta healing and subconscious reprogramming and understanding manifestation. And it was like a ball rolling downhill. Like everything just started coming together. Life coaching, other modalities, Reiki, I kept going. I could not get enough. I just wanted to soak everything up because it's like for once in my life, I was excited about what I was learning and it made sense to me. Like it was all like the puzzle pieces were coming together. It was making sense. And so I just wanted more and more and more. So I think it took several years. It was like I probably started the journey in 2007, and I think by 2010 was when I started. Uh, I had like my first client in theta healing and coaching work. So it took me a while before I was ready to say, okay, I'll do this as a career path. Uh, And the rest you can really say is history. Like I did not look back from that. I basically just was doing healing work and teaching yoga from then on. And it is such a powerful journey. I always say this to people that are coming to me to, possibly learn some healing techniques to use for their own self and their own careers. Uh, that the best thing that can ever happen to you is receiving emails from people or messages or DMs saying, "Oh my gosh, you've changed my life," like, or "I don't know where I would be without your work." Or I still have people that I worked with like 10 plus years ago that are like, they'll come to me or they'll message me and be like, "I still remember such and such thing you said to me," or "that inner child healing thing was like that you did was really profound and I still think about that." I get messages like that all the time, and there's nothing more rewarding to me than knowing that I've made a difference in somebody's life. And so the podcast today and like why I wanted to come here to talk to you is because I feel like there's so many of us. By us, I mean, I call them healers in hiding. You're the empaths, the sensitives, the intuitives. You have these internal gifts, this internal knowing. People feel calmer around you, or you just kind of know things and you don't really know how you know things. When you have those intuitive inherent gifts, but you're not utilizing them because maybe for many different reasons, right? Maybe you feel like you have to stay in your 9 to 5 job and like you don't want to think about having to get insurance. That's a big one I hear a lot, which is valid. I'm not invalidating any of these things, but maybe you feel like you're scared to let people like your family or close friends know that you kind of have a little bit of a woo woo side, or that I hate that word, by the way, but I'm using it for context. I don't think any of this is woo woo. I think all of this is normal. I think somewhere sinisterly within our society, we've been trained to believe, or somebody tried to control us to think and believe that that stuff is different, that that stuff is weird, that energy and the chakra system is bad or wrong. And if you believe that or buy into that, you're a bad person and you're going against God and you're allowing negative things to come in your life. And that's a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. And that was something that got programmed within our society to keep us controlled and to keep us away from our inherent power. And it's not okay. That is something I will continue to talk about because it is something I truly believe. Like, what if this stuff is normal? We've just been programmed to believe it's crazy and weird and woo woo. And that's actually so far from the truth. And that's what I truly believe. And so it begs to ask that question, like, is this normal? And somewhere it got programmed incorrectly. But anyway, I digress. That wanted to be shared in this moment, clearly. But when we have these inherent gifts and we're not these inherent sensitivities, these inherent knowings, and we're not using those. For one thing, the medicine woman, medicine man is calling us forward now in 2026. Truth will reign in 2026. We are in the year of the fire horse, and it's not messing around. It's literally like pushing you forward. And so if you've been feeling that inner call, that inner medicine woman or inner medicine man calling you forward, there's a reason for that. It's happening because collectively, that's what we're stepping into. Collectively, those of us that are here to serve in a more intuitive way and to be a light for others are being pulled forward. So if you've been feeling that inner call and maybe you're like, I don't know what to do with this, Erin, I'm not like, I've never done healing work on people, or people just feel naturally good around me, or they just tell me their life stories out of the blue, or, they just trust me immediately. But I'm not a healer. I don't have that kind of skill, or I don't know what to do with that. Well, I'm here to tell you I do have a couple options for you in that way. So my Lightworker Academy program is an 8-month program where you're going to learn several different modalities to guide you into your healing work, into your medicine woman or man. We learn we go deeply into somatic work and nervous system understanding through the polyvagal theory, through somatic experiencing, through intuitive work, through inner child work, through learning about trauma and CPTSD. That's 3 months long. And then we go into EFT, which emotional freedom technique, releasing trapped emotions, and understanding the energy meridian. So it's kind of like the energetic anatomy part of our system. That's 2 months long. So you're still learning modalities, but you're also deeply learning your own energetic system. And then we move into light recoding, subconscious reprogramming, and quantum manifesting. That's 3 months long. And we're really going to learn our subconscious mind and how this stuff gets programmed and how to deprogram it or reprogram it to things that we want so that we can manifest much more quickly. And then if you take you could do each of those programs separately by themselves or just one or two. But if you take the full 8-month program, you get an additional Lightworker business accelerator or school. And that's where you're going to learn how to sell your business, develop your niche. It's basically like creating your whole business. And it's 2 months long. And that's all self-paced with some additional coaching, live coaching. The rest of the program is live. Each week we meet live, but for the business part, there's a couple extra Q&As, and I'm there to help you, with questions that you have as you go through that part of the program. But it's very deep. It's going to take you on your own personal healing journey while you're learning how to help others, because you are your first client. We have to go on our own healing journey first in a deep way. And a lot of us, myself included, I thought I was doing deep healing work until the shit hit the fan and I started developing chronic health issues and realizing that the issues were in my tissues and that the trauma I had been through was deeply embedded within my system. And that's why I really got into nervous system healing and somatic work. And that's why that's the first part of this program, because we have to deeply understand our nervous system. Then we can do all of the energy stuff and the really cool things and the quantum manifesting, but it has to start within the body. So it really is a mind, body, spirit training. And I'm just so excited for this year's cohort to come together. We start next month, and typically the calls are Tuesdays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Everything's recorded. Everything's in a portal that you access online. So if you ever have to miss, it's always there for you. There's workbooks, there's meditations, there's some parts of it are self-paced. So there's learning that you do on your own. Then we come together and we do practice sessions. So it's really in depth and you go through a personal journey. So it's for you if you're an empath, a healer, a light worker. If you don't have any experience coaching or healing, or if you do, but you want to add more modalities. It's also for you if you want to take a personal growth journey, um, you can do the program without doing the certification parts just for your own self. And you can pass those tools on to your family and your friends and help your kids, help your ancestors. Like we go deep into this program, and it's really, it's a really clear roadmap that's going to take you in a deep unraveling in a beautiful, supportive way with myself and the others in the group. And I would be so excited if you would join me. So just shoot me a message on Instagram or at purelight_healing. Or you can message me at purelighthealings with an S at gmail.com. Pure light healings with an S at gmail.com. There will be information below this video of how to reach me. Please reach out because this is going to start next month. So I don't want you to miss it. And the price is going up. So the time to get in is now. Alternatively, if you're like, Erin, that sounds amazing, but for whatever reason, this year isn't going to work to do the full in-depth program, starting this month, I will be starting a monthly membership called the Light Leader Collective. It's $33.33 a month. And each month we do a deep dive masterclass for about an hour and a half as a group, where I will go into different ways we can become more embodied empaths and spiritual leaders. So we'll be working on intuition, we'll be working on subconscious reprogramming, nervous system healing, but in a group setting, not learning the tools, but rather having the sessions done on you and others in the group, if that makes sense. So that starts in a couple weeks. That's the Light Leader Collective. Or you've got the Lightworker Academy, that's the 8-month program. So just shoot me a message either way if either of those resonate for you. I would love to share more. I have websites for both. And I'm just so excited to welcome people in this because I really feel this year, I feel the energy ramping up. I feel how we're all being asked to I'm being asked to step deeper into, kind of a different layer of my business in a different way. I think we're all being asked to really step into what's true for us. For some of us on another level, and for some of us, it's like this is the year we've got to move forward. We've got to start sharing our gifts and impacting others in the way that we know on some soul level that we came here to do. I call like your soul mission, right? A lot of us came here with this mission unbeknownst to us. I didn't know that I came here with this, but unbeknownst to us, to help people on a deeper soul level. And as we do that, as each one of us rises into our medicine woman or man, we are helping the collective expand and grow, and we're helping heaven on earth become more and more realistic. So that's where I'm at today. Would love, love, love to see you in one of those programs, and just really excited for what this year holds for all of us. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you next time.